Need my microphone. Hashtag show start fail. Hi, my name is Wayne Pelletier. I want to tell you what I'm doing and what I recommend for others. Stop consuming, start creating. But first, hi, my name is Wayne Pelletier. I own a web design company you can really subscribe to. Pun kind of intended. We transform online presence so you can transform your business. We elevate your brand with our credibility playbook. I kind of like that one. I might keep it. All right. I don't have actual Squarespace news, but I do have something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it's kind of been a note I've banged on a few times and thought about, okay, this is definitely something I'm thinking. And it's something that I want to hold myself accountable for. And I thought I would share it here once it was mature enough. Something in my eye. We're live. All right. Stop consuming and start creating. What the hell do I mean? Here's what I mean. Most of us consume lots of content. If you're watching this video, you're doing that. But it's not just YouTube videos. And we can certainly get stuck in a rabbit hole here on YouTube. It's not just YouTube, it's in Reels, it's TikTok, it's everywhere. And damn it. Look, it's great. It's a lovely distraction at times, sometimes not so lovely, bit of a doom scroll. And other times we're trying to solve practical challenges that we have, or we're looking for inspiration, looking for something instructional or inspiring. We're going through training or courses. So if you're like me and you consume self-help books, usually via audiobook, or business books, also via audiobook, podcasts, of which I subscribe to a ton, all of it is really great. And to be honest, there's not much trash out there. The bulk of these things are good advice. That's why they're published. They're published by smart people. They're written by smart people. You can go consume any book, Simon Sinek, John Warlow, Gary Vee, whether you're looking for practical information or inspiration. But at some point, we got to stop adding wheels to the cart here, because we might be building something that won't actually roll. And that was a really, really bad analogy. This is what I think about. And it's how my notes started when I first started thinking about this, because I am one who consumes a bunch of advice content and a bunch of strategic content, business content. And I love it. And it inspires me to be better and to build better. And it helps me rethink some of the ideas I have about what I want to build with this business, and who I want to serve, how I want to serve them, how I could be doing better. I'm just a voracious consumer of this stuff. But there's this quote from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, that gets stuck in my brain. And as I'm consuming more and more, and either not building or doing even worse, kind of entering into a pivot inspired by some solution, whether or not I need it. I don't know if you're like this, but his quote goes like this: we don't rise to meet our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. It's brilliant. I wish I'd have thought of something that awesome. It's great. It's great in sprints, or if we need practical advice, or if we're stuck on something, to go and consume something that helps us get unstuck. But doing it when we don't have actual problems or challenges to overcome puts us in a series of fits and spurts. And what happens to me is I start moving my own cheese. I don't know if you've read that book, Who Moved My Cheese, or something like that. The idea is, what's another bad analogy there? Moving the goalposts, a common football analogy. And putting that James Clear quote, we don't rise to meet our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. If we're always changing the system, or if let me personalize it. If I'm always changing the system, then you're always building and rebuilding. You never give these systems an opportunity to make a meaningful change to the outcomes. So what I wind up doing is constantly being a state of redesign. It's a form of procrastination when you think about it, that entering an area of design or inspiration and not publishing and not creating, getting something out there, is a form of procrastination. And like I said 2 minutes ago, I don't know how many minutes ago was it. It was 5 minutes ago. All of this advice, all of this content, it's good content. You can go read Good to Great. You can read Superfans from Pat Flynn. You can read Built to Sell by John Warlow. You can read any business book or inspirational book when it comes to life design, business design, entrepreneurship. It's all good. But if we don't design a business and see it through to the end, then it's kind of all for naught. Maybe it gave us a few good ideas, or even pressure tested some of my ideas, which happens all the time when I consume a book. I get stuck in a cycle of reimagine and redesign, and the goal would be to get out of it. And that actually reminds me of another quote, thinking here. I was in the U.S. Army in the early 1990s, and I had a drill instructor, and this drill instructor probably yelled at every single enlistee or private that is going through the program for those 8 grueling weeks. But there's something that they said, or this one particular drill sergeant said. I don't know that they all say it, but it was, there's 2 kinds of people in this world. And this is a bit dramatic. Work with me. He said, there are 2 kinds of people in this world: the quick and the dead. And when I tie that back to James Clear's quote, or any kind of business structural design or business strategy book or content, it makes me realize that not seeing it through contributes to anything that stagnates or slows the growth of the business. Because at the end of the day, nobody's looking, nobody's watching, nobody cares. Even if you have 1 million followers and fans, yeah, some people are watching the content. But at the end of the day, you make what you need to make. You share what you need to share, because you've got to put that content out there to prove it, to show it, right? So you have the receipts on your expertise. So stop consuming and start creating. It's why I started this show just a few weeks ago. What is this, episode 10? I'm done sitting around trying to make something perfect. I'm done sitting around redesigning and being re-inspired by some new fantastic piece of content, be it a book or a podcast or a course or whatever. It's time to just make a thing, put it out, and then get 5% better at that thing every time I do it. Maybe 1% sometimes, 6% others. That the point is getting a little bit better every time. And I feel like I've been doing that. So even though there are, let's see, how many people are watching right now? Live, we have 0. Fine by me. Because I'm not judging myself based on number of people who join us live. I'm not even judging myself by number of views or comments or engagement stats from YouTube Studio. I'm just trying to build meaningful relationships, put something out there, get better at this whole talking to a camera thing. Maybe a few less ums and fewer ands and procrastination words, pause words, so I can gather my thoughts in a quick second. It's all related to the idea of consumption and creation, and being able to manage that balance well. I hope this was helpful, or at least inspirational. I hope you stopped watching, but come back and catch the rest of the video when you have free time, like literal free time. Because watching this I know this is an oxymoron or catch-22, I don't know what you would call it. Yes, it is ironic that I'm saying stop consuming and go create. And if you stop watching this and go create something, good. When you do come back, leave a comment and say, hey, I stopped watching your video and went and created something and I came back to it. Right? So think about, that's what I'm thinking about this morning. And I just wanted to share that a little off the cuff. So I'm not going to touch on AI today. Maybe that'll be a weekly thing. I'm starting to feel like it doesn't have enough movement from 3 episodes a week from show to show. So thinking about that. But from a standpoint of what's popping, I can wrap on that for a minute. You know, I got to notice that an app I like a lot, markup.io there. It's for reviewing websites. Kind of embed the Squarespace website on it. The client can go and leave comments right on the pages. It's super slick. It's pretty awesome. They're raising their rates, and they're not the only ones to do that recently. I think in the first 6-7 weeks of this year, 2025, most of the apps that I interact with have raised their rates in the past few months and several in the past few weeks. And I see chatter about it in some forums, and I understand it. It's painful. It really sucks when some app is like, oh, we're $30 a month. Never mind, we're $70 a month. You're like, what? Doubling it up. Not that $40 is like a deal breaker. If $40 is a deal breaker, we got probably a bigger fish to fry. Another terrible analogy. What am I doing today? Look, a lot of the apps that I use, and I'm not alone in this, I'm pretty sure, have a ton of feature overlap. We stick with an app because it does one thing really well, right? The accountant demands we be in QuickBooks or Xero or whatever. Okay, fine, we'll pay for that. But you want to run your business in a really simplistic way with a lot of feature sets, and we go in list of an app like Bonsai or Honeybook, Dubsado, you know what I mean? And then there are other apps like Squarespace that we make websites in every day. It does 60% of what Honeybook and Bonsai do. And, 15-20% of what QuickBooks does. There's a ton of overlap. I'm not even bringing up Stripe or any of the production apps, because to be honest, I can probably do in Canva what I do in Markup, or at least figure it out. And there are other apps too where there's a ton of overlap. So when the cost of all our apps starts bumping up to a couple $1,000s a year, then all of a sudden there's this, oh, let's look at transaction fees, or let's see what we can do to consolidate and reduce the total number of apps I'm subscribed to. And that is an exercise I started this morning. Coffee, get up, journal in my AI app of choice, boop, 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 journaling it out and thinking, okay, let me stop. That's a thought I want to act on. So open a numbers spreadsheet, and I start listing out all these apps that I know I subscribe to, just to get the wheels rolling. Then once I sat here in the office at work, open that numbers file, open my checking account, and then really reconcile what transactions there are. Not that I don't know. I do in general know all of the things I'm subscribed to, but I just wanted to cover my bases to see, and then really not feature list them, but look hard at what overlaps there are so that maybe I can drop one or two. So in the future, sorry, some awesome app I'm probably going to unsubscribe from in order to do something, do that thing in an app elsewhere that does some other things for me. So I really think I'm moving harder back into Squarespace. It's just easy, and I really like the interface. Yeah, transaction fees get a little nuts, but I'm not huge. Transaction fees aren't a huge deterrent for me. like I've said before, I think you can just sell another client, another subscription, and cover the cost of the transaction fees for the other transactions. So in general, having transactions go through Honeybook, Stripe, QuickBooks, and Squarespace is a little bit of a mess. Can that peel 15 minutes, 20 minutes off of my Monday morning CFO power hour? That would be pretty cool. That's not without value. So that is the next thing I'm taking a look at here from an operations standpoint. I know it's going to change my workflow. You know, if you dump an app like Markup or Honeybook or something like that, and you've got a lot of stuff in there, it's a bit of a lift to pull it out. And I'm going through that pain right now. But I feel like once I'm out of there, I'm okay with the workflow changes, whatever they are. I don't make apps bend to my will. I'm happy to update my process to accommodate what an app does well in order to extract as much value out of that app as possible. And when apps have a lot of overlap, it's difficult to truly extract or maximize the amount of value we're getting from those apps. So I started listing those out. I'm looking for those overlaps now, and we'll see. I probably won't come in here and say which apps I'm going to unsubscribe from. It doesn't seem productive or healthy, but anyway, I'm not sure if that was the What's Poppin' or the Struggle Bus segment. Seems like that was a bit of a hybrid, right? Cool. So we did that. I am presenting to that really cool new client in about 2 hours. Very much looking forward to that. You just don't get an opportunity to do a really fun website. Once in a while, a restaurant will come along and they want something extremely fun and bright and poppy and flashy and whatever. It's almost like you've got to contain yourself. Same thing with really fun events, like family events and things. It's not a stuffy corporate or a bank or anything like that. And those are some pretty fun projects. And they don't come along all the time. So take advantage of those when we get those opportunities. And I think this one's a wrap. So anyway, hey, thanks for hanging out with me for 18 minutes. Pretty awesome. I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, get updates, get notifications when I'm about to go live. When I do go live, I think that's how it works. And join the email list if you want follow-up or updates on what's happening here, what's happening at Resonant Pixel Company. And go to WaynePelletier.com. Check out my course on how to have better design review meetings. It's going pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it all. Pretty awesome. And thank y'all. The last thing I'll say, and I'm glad I moved this segment to the end, is thumbnail face. Is that what I was calling it? Thumbnail face? I think I was calling it thumbnail face. All right. So the title here, I think we're looking at a title of Stop Consuming, period. Start Creating, period. So let me do something like this. Oh, shoot. You could see the corner of my... The camera's not supposed to be like that. Oh, see? This is why we can't have nice things. I'll fix it. How something like that? Oh! This is the dumbest part of the internet. You're welcome. You have entered the dumbest corner of the internet. Or the dumbest corner of YouTube. Congratulations. I will see you on Wednesday.